podcast is rated off for realness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Bookers podcast. Let that brief intro be your welcome to the most realist, rated R for realness podcast officially from the island of relevancy, allegedly. We don't have any proof to prove otherwise. With me, as always, my co-host, Rich the Riz, who used to work at the Wiz. We're going to talk about wrestling. This is a wrestling podcast for you by us. Thanks for joining us. If you could please drop a like or subscribe and hit a notification bell or something, that would be really helpful to us. Rich, welcome to the Basic Bookers podcast, where you and me will acknowledge the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who makes me feel bad for anybody who buys a ticket to SmackDown and doesn't get to see the tribal chief.
Well, at least you get to see Sammy and the Usos and Solo wreak havoc. So
That is not a one-for-one, trade.
you're correct,
So
but it's still fun. It's still entertaining. It's still intriguing, which we'll get into. I want to follow Jared up by saying thanks to the Basement Bookiverse checking us out on all the platforms. YouTube, if you're watching, thank you. Don't forget to hit the bell and the thing and the other thing or whatever, all of that. And on the Facebook, all the videos we post there, all the shorts. Thank you. We see you. We love you. Now, big headlines this week. I feel like, well, first of all, I'm wearing the shirt for a reason. It's the closest thing I have to an NWO shirt.
is it because the World Economic Forum is meeting and they're trying to form a real new world order?
No, it's because once again he's gonna kill it. Him and the potentially the Saudi investment. I forget the name of it. It's in here somewhere.
You should be wearing a black and white. Where's your black and white?
I don't have a black and white.
Me neither. That's kind of weird, right? I think in order to have a wrestling podcast, one of your hosts must own a NWO black and white. It's got to be a bylaw somewhere, so I'll look into fixing that on my end.
All right. Well, your shirt is black and white and wrestling themed, so.
Yeah, but when you mentioned the black and white, we all know what we're talking about. We're talking about the NWO. We're talking about the New World Order of Wrestling, brother.
I feel like if we have to explain that, you're not listening to the right podcast.
I think
no. If we have to explain that, I think you intended on tuning in on a podcast of like how to build a basement or the architectural design of basements and not what we actually do here.
Well, Rich, I just want to say for the record that I don't, make judgments on, people because some are not 40, they might be younger people. You never know when somebody's getting in. We try to be a Basement Bookers podcast for like a larger audience since we've toned down the realness there. All right. Before we
Still
continue,
real.
I want to lay down. Well, it's still real, but you can't really say we wouldn't. We have to be careful with how we say things because
Thanks,
with
YouTube.
us, yeah, that's right. Like that's the one thing that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that YouTube could this is a beautiful thing that we could do on YouTube. But I wanted to give the format out because in case you're new, so it's gonna be fake news about real sports and entertainment. We're gonna drop by the Boo Boo Room. That's where we find out who's hurt or whatever, or recovered from being hurt in different ways. And then we're gonna, maybe we'll talk about a thing. I don't know. We'll probably talk a lot about Vince today.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go and we're gonna talk a little bit about like stuff that we thought was kind of interesting with the highlights for Raw, Rampage, Dynamite, and SmackDown, respectively.
Highlights
Okay,
and lowlights.
So don't go anywhere. Okay, don't even worry about it. It's gonna be good. It's fun.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, Vince is all over the news. This is all right. Let me read through as much of this as I can. There's a lot. In a late December letter to WWE's board of directors, Vince McMahon laid out his thoughts on a strategy to combine, quote, a review of strategic alternatives with the media rights negotiations, noting that, quote, Given the rapidly evolving media landscape in which more and more companies are seeking to own the intellectual property offered on their streaming platforms, essentially saying that rather than simply leasing the rights to content to streaming platforms like Hulu, which is what they're doing now, they should, and Peacock, I should have mentioned that. I don't know why Hulu came to mind first, but Peacock, obviously, where the WWE network lies at the moment, that they should sell to one of these platforms, sell the company outright. Let's see. In their employee conference calls, Chief Financial Officer Frank Riddick elaborated that, quote, strategic initiatives and strategic alternatives could include a broad range of potential transactions, everything from a combination with another company, an acquisition of the company by someone, or a take private transaction, and or just simply some sort of cooperation joint venture agreement. Nick Khan specified that their media rights deal ends October 2024. We'll put a pin in that date. We're actually not going to come back to it, but that's sort of what they're looking at, right? Following all of this, particularly Vince McMahon's reinstatement onto the board of directors as executive chairman, Stephanie McMahon now announced her resignation as co-CEO. Following that, and the appointment of former executive vice presidents Michelle Wilson and George Barrios to the board. They're not in their original roles, by the way. Vince was unanimously elected as executive chairman, with Nick Khan becoming the sole CEO. Anything on all of that?
My anonymous sources are very anonymous, who may or may not be real. Any relation they have to any person, be living or dead, it's purely coincidental. But they tell me that a challenge was laid down, and it was between Vincent Kennedy McMahon and the traitor billion-dollar princess Stephanie McMahon. Allegedly, I have no proof that she's the one that leaked the information. There's no truth to it because it's silly. I'm making it up. But if I wasn't making it up, there was a match. And this was
We're not going to spoil the results of the match. That's in the boo-boo room.
This is a no holds barred match. And just to put a pin in it and let you all know is nobody died. Everyone's alive, and look, it doesn't matter because the referee would have called for the bell anyway. So I'm just leaving it like that. With all that, I don't know. It's very complicated. It sounds like a lot of financial whoop-de-doo and a hoo-ha. I think a lot of people are freaking out right now for different reasons. The reason that I'm freaking out a little bit is it's like, this is the last thing. This is the last, like, of all the things I've enjoyed in my life that haven't been destroyed completely. The WWE it's still intact.
Mm-hmm.
They've ruined Marvel. Star Wars is dead forever. Fight me on it. But look, maybe it might rise again. But the point is, this is all I have left. And I left myself I was an emotional spiral. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to just do? Just AEW? And I was like, I don't know. Can I bring myself to, like, I barely, what am I supposed to do here? That's been everything for many years. And so anyway, I felt like a lot of people, but I didn't draw as many crazy conclusions. So I don't know. Where I'm at is I've calmed down a little bit after I heard about the staff meeting that Triple H had with the talent and things like that, that nothing is going to change creatively going forward. I'm just taking that off your plate right there. That's basically, look, guys, it's going to be cool. Don't even worry about it. And I'm like, Triple H would never lie to me. Why would Triple H ever do me wrong? He's always done right by me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a flashback. And it was a summer. It was hot. Temperatures were high. All I'm saying is that it was his time. Triple H, you knew it was his time, and you couldn't let it be his time. You just had to turn your back on Randy. Then I found out that, Randy needed help. but at that time, it was his time. I thought it was his time, but it wasn't. Sometimes it works out. So hopefully this time things will be cool. That's really all I got to say for now. Once we get to the next round here, the
I gotta
information.
admit, at first I thought you were referring to the Shawn Michaels car window incident, but equal, very similar, definitely
Yeah, I'm not
parallel.
that big of a fan of HBK, but
Yeah,
at the time I was a huge Randy Orton fan, and
yeah,
it was his time.
I
All right.
remember.
Anyway,
Hmm.
so
I remember the keyboard.
all right, great. Let's move
Okay.
on.
So, rumors of potential buyers swirled, including a claim that WWE had already sold to the Saudi Public Investment Fund, though they are in the pool of potential buyers. Dave Meltzer noted that following his temporary retirement, Vince started a dialogue with the Saudi PIF regarding a sale. Other potential buyers include Comcast, Fox, Disney, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Netflix, Amazon, Endeavor, Liberty Media, and according to Barron's, which is the sister publication of Wall Street Journal, who's been breaking and leaking a lot of corporate stories the past few months, Shahid and Tony Khan. They are officially in the game as potential buyers. CNBC reported that the Khans would be interested in merging WWE with AEW. Meltzer went on to add that Nick Khan, the WWE CEO, met with Disney and ESPN executives earlier this week and is looking to sell by mid 2023, basically within like 6 to 8 months. Moving on from that. And this is a news story that could have come at a better time, given all of this. F4WOnline.com reported that Fox is losing a lot of money with their SmackDown deal. Citing a Morgan Stanley analysis, Fox paid $196.7 million for SmackDown in the 2020-2021 TV season and lost $134 million on that deal. And for the 2021-2022 season, paid $208.5 million and lost $145 million.
It's always something to me when people lose money on something that I've yet to make close to in my almost 40 years of life.
Yeah, that's why I try not to. Like if you get rid of the million, it's like they paid $197 for it and lost 134.
Okay, you know what? I think we should just do it that way from now on. Let's not try to big brain things around here, okay?
Okay.
All right, you
All right.
get all high and mighty.
Could you imagine a joint roster of WWE and AEW?
Uh, yeah, I can. And I feel like that's when you know who's good and who's not. And it's not a good answer for a lot of people. Um, so I'm not going to be rude. I think everybody works very hard,
Hmm.
but if you put things up against each other and you like see it visually, you would kind of understand what I'm getting at here.
Hmm.
Um,
And it's not just AEW. Obviously, some WWE fat would be trimmed as well.
yeah, I understand. So basically, what you're going to have is the top of the card is going to be the WWE, and then the mid card to that's going to be AEW, basically.
So you're
So
saying, okay, realistically, from AEW moving to the top of the card in this umbrella company, right?
we'll call
You,
it AEWWE since it'd be AEW technically being, the one that's the main fusion here.
right.
Because if they're talking about merging,
Hmm.
then it would be on the side of the people that bought in, right? Like Tony
Right.
Khan and his daddy.
Hmm. So you would have to think MJF would move to the top of the card.
No,
Uh, no.
no, because I like MJF, but he's mid, and he knows it. And if he's got a problem, he could feel free to address this publicly and give us what he doesn't want to give us, and that's legitimacy. Because we have it regardless if you give it to us or not. Because
Hmm.
we believe it ourselves. Um, so clip that.
Okay.
Anyway,
So maybe
no,
not mid JF,
yeah.
as you might call him.
Look, I didn't want to take this into a new topic or whatever. I'm just saying, like, WWE's got the more main event talent than AEW does when it comes to a mainstream audience. And I think you'd be hard pressed to shut that down outright.
Well, that's because
So
WWE is the definition of mainstream professional wrestling in the US.
I understand that, Rich, but I'm just going by how I experience AEW television. And when we talk about what we watched this week and how you have to rely on blood and guts because you don't have compelling storytelling, you're doing these blood and guts types things on regular TV. Spoiler alert, the only problem I had with the main event for Rampage, it's that it was on Rampage. Okay. You could have put that on a show or like a show that has a name, like one of your winter is coming or whatever the hell you want to
Hmm.
call it. Um, I think they deserve better than that. If they're doing all that, and why aren't they main eventing like a show?
Hmm.
Or do you not think that that's important enough for that? Because I think it is after that, and I
It
didn't
was a
like.
heated feud. It was a long-term storyline.
Okay, we could talk about that later. I just
Okay,
don't think.
we'll come back to it.
I think that should have been a main event match.
I don't listen. I'm not disagreeing with you, and that
I
was why
know,
I said it was a long-term
I
storyline.
know, but it was like this. Look at my head. If it was like a
Yeah.
graph, it's like this, kinda,
Hmm.
like that, and then it's like this,
Hmm.
and then I forgot about it, and oh, here's this bloody end of a feud thing we're doing right now. It's like you guys went from 0 to 100 here. Smashing a hand in a door to a table spot where the person who was giving it got all of the table.
True, and also,
Unnecessary thumbtack spots, a crimson mask, which is like, dude, this is TV.
dude, they do that in the favelas, according to Ty.
All right. Well, I don't want to mess with the rest of the news segment.
All right.
This podcast tends to go off the rails, and I will not be responsible for that. I just made a
Okay.
strong opinion. I didn't think it was coming that early.
All right. All right. So we'll be back to that. Let's see. A WWE stockholder in Delaware is suing Vince McMahon, alleging that he violated WWE's charter by reinstating himself to the board. More similar lawsuits are expected in the coming weeks. This is, sort of, particularly with the rumor about WWE already being sold to the Saudi PIF. That could be construed as market tampering, which is some phrasing that's sort of been brought up lately in a lot of other mergers and acquisitions and such, like Twitter. Also, there was a funny meme going around that showed, like, I don't know if it was a tweet or whatever, of it said Elon Musk had bought WWE for like 40 or 400 something billion or whatever, and I was like, that ain't real, and it wasn't.
He, you don't even give that a second thought. He'd never spend any money on that. Like the idea of it is absurd to him, probably.
Maybe, I don't even know. All right, and now it is time for, where is it? The Boo Boo Room.
Get well soon. We want you to get well.
All right. First up, PWInsider.com reported this week that Dewdrop, which I can't spell apparently, has been off TV due to an undisclosed illness, but they expect her back around Rumble time. You muted.
Is that a 9-month illness?
That's a good question. I haven't been tracking how long she's been out.
Oh, okay. No, I doubt it. It's probably something. Maybe she had the cough.
Could be.
Who knows?
Yeah, they did say illness. I feel like they would, like, regardless of a certain former TV doctor referring to pregnancy as having a parasite living within you. I don't think mainstream House, by the way, my favorite
Oh,
show. Yeah. I doubt that they would.
I was thinking
Anyone
about like
really would
Dr.
refer to that.
Phil. I'm like, wait, TV? Like, you talking about Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz? That's disgusting. Why would
No,
someone say that? Oh, okay.
no, a
So,
fictitious doctor.
all right.
My
Well,
favorite fictitious
uh,
doctor.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I never saw you as a Dr. Phil stan before, so.
Never watched any of those shows.
Why do you do this? That's probably how he sounds.
He looks like Michael Civic from All in the Family, kinda.
No, he is him.
Okay,
It's a
that
secret
explains it.
identity.
That explains it. Kyle O'Reilly revealed on Instagram that in addition to his type 1 diabetes slowing down his recovery, he's also, quote, dealing with a post surgical issue that he hasn't disclosed the nature of yet, but plans to eventually.
Probably negative side effects from his personality transplant. It's yet to take. Just kidding.
At Basement Chair, folks.
Oh man, come on.
I can't disagree. I'm just saying. At Rich the Riz. Logan Paul is reportedly cleared to return to action, so probably have a Rumble spot.
Yeah, Logan Paul, man, he's having quite a week. That Logan Paul,
Oh, what I
like
miss?
he got scammed or something, and he was scamming people. Like he once even bought like he thought were like real sealed like first edition Pokemon cards. They turned out to be fake.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Look, like if you're listening and you want to know a little bit more about this, I wasn't gonna try to talk about it because it's a waste of time with Rich. But if you YouTube Logan Paul, he's not having a good go right now. So anyway,
I didn't know who Logan Paul was before. Honestly, before his name started coming up related to wrestling, and Jerry had to explain it to me.
it's well documented.
Yeah,
Episode. All
the
right. So
past
what's next
100.
there?
Okay. And closing out the Boo Boo Room on his podcast this week, Kurt Angle said he nearly drowned in Miami recently after he stalled out, then flipped over while driving a jet ski. Let me clarify because I paraphrased the article. I didn't want to just quote the article exactly because, sources and such. He tried to turn, stopped, and I guess he tried to continue, but like didn't hit the gas, and that stalled it out. And so the jet ski was just like, well, there's a lot more weight up top than on bottom, so I'm kind of just gonna do one of these. So it's not like he was like going like 75 miles an hour and tipped. That would be crazy, scary, deadly. But it just tipped over while he was stationary. He said he can't swim. His life vest wasn't helping him float. His daughter, who was out on the beach, swam in to help. By the time he got there, because of his neck issues, his arms were too weak to push him back up onto the jet ski. So she had to like push him up. She had to gorilla press him from the ocean back onto the jet ski. You muted.
Everybody's strong in the water.
Yeah, because
So
of the buoyancy and
I've
such.
driven a jet ski and almost drove into a boat. So I don't like them. So I was
Hmm.
steering and I can't swim. And it was
Mm.
very scary, but it was exciting and we had a fun time.
I
Highly
am.
recommend, but you know, if you know
I've
how to
never.
swim, you got the leg up on me.
Yeah, I never jet skied and I want to. It looks like a lot of fun.
It's like it's freedom between your legs, you know? You just feel the power. And it's also scary. Like I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have if I wasn't terrified,
Hmm.
but not driving into that boat. That felt pretty cool.
So one thing I didn't include in the story, but he included in the story. I guess like it was like maybe it was a public beach or whatever, or some party. I don't know what it was. I don't know the circumstances, but he said that there was this kid that couldn't ride a jet ski by herself. He didn't say the age of the kid, so he had to drive, and she was on his back. She was on the jet ski also. Why are you muted again?
I don't know, but you don't have to say it on the stream. You know,
Oh, sorry.
you're really messing things up when you do that. It's just stopped me from being rude and interrupting, but I guess I can't do that. So did the kid not fall in the water?
No report on the kid, but presumably the kid was okay, and he said that he gave other kids rides later in the day. So I
Oh,
guess
well, I guess as long as he wasn't drinking a lot of milk,
right.
that could be a problem.
So that closes out the Boo Boo Room. Moving on from that, allegedly. Oh no, that's supposed to be in the Boo Boo Room. What happened? I must have accidentally moved it. Closing out the Boo Boo Room. Sorry. Allegedly, unrelated to Vince's reclamation of control of WWE, Stephanie McMahon had ankle surgery this week.
It's because she wouldn't tap.
You
She
know,
wouldn't tap, and then she finally tapped, but it was too late. The break happened. You know,
snap, then tap.
even if she held on, the referee would have called for the bell anyway.
Yeah.
You shoot at the king, you
Mhm.
best not miss, and she missed.
She did.
Allegedly.
Mhm.
Allegedly, I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody, by sources nowhere near, not real.
Mhm.
Maybe she, I think she leaked the documents, whatever. But anyway,
Maybe. All right. Ginny, Gunter's girlfriend, announced her wrestling retirement on Twitter earlier today.
well, sometimes you don't have to. You don't have to wrestle if you don't want to.
Yeah, she was coming off an injury. She was out with an injury for a while. She said she didn't say how long. I remember her work from NXT UK, the 2 or 3 episodes I watched, and yeah,
That's 2 or 3 more
uh,
times than me. So,
you've seen
congrats.
some.
If I don't remember it, did it happen? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Probably, but not for the sake of this conversation. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although, if we're going by if I don't remember it, did it happen? Then nothing happened, according to my memory.
If you wanted to make fun of me and you're watching this, sometimes my shirt just says eat. And then if I move down a little bit, it might say fat. So whatever you want to do, if you were upset about that AEW comment, I don't mean it like bad or anything.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tessa Blanchard and her husband Daga, I'm not sure how to say it, have announced on social media.
Da-da!
There you go. Is that what he does?
No, but he should. Every
Yes.
time he's like, Daga. Yeah,
Daga.
Daga. I got a frappuccino for Daga. It's Daga. Oh, I'm sorry. Here.
They announced on social media that they are amicably going through a divorce after 2 years of marriage.
I'm sorry to hear it.
On the other side of the coin, not to be outdone by Dominic, Ricochet and Samantha Irvin have announced their engagement on Twitter this week. Congratulations to them.
I'd have a lot of questions for her after Friday Night SmackDown. She's a little too much enthusiasm announcing Gunter on Friday. Very, very in the pipes. If you could say, if I'd be nervous if someone I love could say someone's name with such conviction. That means she's rehearsed it.
Yeah.
To kind of, but hey, you know what? Ricochet, maybe he's like a real confident dude. From what I hear, he's a very confident dude.
Must be.
Nothing phases him.
And Undertaker and Becky Lynch have been announced as cosmetic bundles for the characters of Blackbeard and Thorn, respectively, in the Rainbow Six Siege game.
Why can't it be for a game that I play?
To mock you?
I'm never gonna play any Rainbow Six game. It's like a squad-based shooter because you probably don't know.
I do not.
There's a lot of them. Almost as many Call of Duties. No, there's definitely more Call of Duties, but you can't beat that. I guess with Maddens, there's a lot of Maddens for like every year forever.
Well, that is it for the news for this week.
Thank God. All right, cool. If there's nothing else, we could just go straight into the Monday Night Raw. So because I'm tired, I'm sick and tired of them messing with my clips. There's no video or audio whatsoever this week. It's just a lot of slides. And we'll talk about them. So
Snapshots.
first, we get Kevin Owens. Look, this is how I felt during the week,
Mhm.
honestly. And you'd wonder, Kevin, why you feel like that. It's because this dummy Baron Corbin, who still cannot get over.
Mhm.
He's still trying his best. He's got his best fedora. Of course, the wrestling real god preceded him and really ran down KO, but thankfully Kevin Owens won. So we're
Mhm.
getting to the first screen highlight. Rich, you want to talk to us about this particular segment? I think it's best and better for the energy of the show that you invest more energy into this because I hate this. So
I know you do. This is Jared's least favorite storyline and character work and all of it. But I'm just gonna run down my notes here because I didn't prep anything otherwise. Alexa Bliss got on the announce desk and said that Bianca may be the champ, but she herself, Alexa, is the only one here. When she busted her face open last week, Bianca decided to run and hide. You see, I have too many she's in my notes here, but I know who I was talking about. I just have to now vocalize it.
it's a good thing you're here.
Yes, thank you. Uh so Alexa says that's smart because yeah. Bianca knows she doesn't have to be afraid of Bray or Howdy. She has to be afraid of her because she's the face of evil. She doesn't feel bad about it because she hasn't felt this good in a long time. She's finally taken control, and she's the one in charge. She, in this case, all being Alexa. Alexa says she has the whole world in her hands, and she's not afraid to use her hands to tear more scars into Bianca's face and take her title. The Wyatt logo with Bliss footage comes on the screen. Then Howdy asking if she feels in charge. Howdy comes out to the stage and they stare at each other with him laughing to go to commercial.
This is so goofy and silly and not even fun for me. I can't stand it. Now I got to deal with Bo Howdy on freaking Monday night. You know, he sunk his decrepit claws into two separate divisions.
Mm.
He's dragging poor LA Knight into the dirt with him for crying out loud. Um, but yeah, totally keeping an open mind about this. You can tell from my demeanor.
Hmm. Yeah, good
I
job.
apologize. I am approaching the twilight of my life. Going through some things. All right,
Really?
so let's move it along. Uh, did you see it?
I saw the Kevin Owens in the corner.
That's how I felt. That's me during the segment.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna dedicate the rest of this to the new background temporarily. Kevin Owens headed to turnbuckle. So
Nice.
you're watching, you can kind of see it. So next, I had my own personal highlight was Rhea Ripley just getting straight up Australian and Candice's grill. And, you know, Candice is like getting interviewed. She's going, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. And then here comes Rhea Ripley. She's like, what are you on about, mate? You're going to win the Royal Rumble? You're just a wanker. And I really expected her just like, what she's like, see you in the ring. I really wanted it to be followed by, you dickhead. You see you in the ring, you dickhead. And just leave her there. And of course, spoiler for later, we all know what happens then. All right.
Hmm.
It's the unstoppable force meets mashed potatoes. So Rich's highlight here. It's I don't know if it's piss yellow or golden yellow, but it's yellow. Um Basically it's theory, it's Rollins, and Rollins is like, you know, bad news and good news, or bad news for you. And it's funny, like you could confuse this with someone else's promo later. But basically, Seth is like, I'm gonna be healed up in time for the Royal Rumble, and then I'm gonna drip all over your face, neck, and chest. Is that about right, Richard? Or is there
It is
about right?
yeah, minus the dripping and the face and the neck and
So
the chest, but
you know, Theory, it's debatable. So Theory, he's like, listen, man, I'm the now, and nothing's gonna stop me from, being the undisputed Universal Champion. You jerk with your wife's shirt. And then Bobby Lashley comes, he's back, and he's making a statement. And his statement is that, first of all, before that, Theory's like, you don't come in here. Like, that's going to work. Apparently, the force field of being held back by ropes only works the opposite way. If you try to get at somebody, not if you try to come after them. He eats a spear. And then Bobby Lashley's like, I'm back, guys. Deal with it. And then, here we go. Just as I said, Rhea Ripley
one thing in
stands
the
tall.
Theory segment, he opened saying, in the full John Cena, the champ is here.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mention that because he's done that before.
Has he?
Yeah. That's like
Damn,
his
my
thing.
memory.
Yeah. That's his thing now. It's a good thing. But it's funny because he's not even talking to John Cena. Like the last time you saw John Cena, he's involved with the bloodline.
It's planting the seed.
Maybe.
It's gonna be SummerSlam.
SummerSlam or WrestleMania?
SummerSlam. Cena fight. Well, I mean, it could be Mania, but I feel like Cena U.S. title is a SummerSlam thing. Cena versus Rollins was SummerSlam.
Well, maybe they'll do Logan Paul versus John Cena at WrestleMania.
Yo, talk about breaking social media.
Yeah. I mean, it's what else do you do, especially if like you might be at the twilight of the gods, so to speak,
Think
with all
Logan would
this.
go over?
No,
Okay.
John Cena's the GOAT. You can't have a YouTuber pin John Cena's shoulders to the mat. Are you a psychopath?
He's
What is wrong with
contracted.
you?
He's contracted. He is a WWE superstar now. That wasn't like a one.
No, it doesn't matter. He's not. John Cena was grown and bred. He bleeds WWE, the standard bearer, like for years. Longer than Stone Cold Steve Austin, longer than The Rock. John Cena. What are you talking about? You're gonna have to do some like apologies to the tribal chief or something, facing the island of relevancy or something, because this is a sin that you're doing right here. to even suggest that, I could be banned for just doing a podcast with you.
I just think it would be a good way to, show that Logan Paul is legit.
You don't do that at the expense of John Cena.
Is it going to hurt Cena?
It's not about John Cena. It's about what he represents. John Cena is a symbol. And I will not have it tarnished by putting his shoulders on the mat for a parasite like Logan Paul. Click that. That'd be pretty cool. All right. So
note to self, huh?
Right? Or to anybody. I'm not a narcissist. When I do that, it's like, please don't let it be me, because that's not right.
Yeah, narcissist. You're just the one editing.
Well, yeah, but still. All right, listen. The point is, the fact of the matter is, we get MVP and Bobby Lashley, and MVP is like, I'm sorry for all that stuff, but maybe maybe we could get the band back together or something. I don't know. Let's start small, and it ends with the fist bump, and everybody pops. Who loves the Hurt Business? That went by fast. Why aren't you stopping? You're making me look like an amateur. It's still going. Pause it. All right. So after this segment, we get the Miz and Hungry Bronson Reed, and I had to do that to remember the name. Trust me, my brain works weird. So, so the Miz is like, listen, buddy, I appreciate what you did. Maybe you got exclusive seat on Miz TV. And like Bronson Reed is like, listen, I'm here for pay. So I'll see you later. And then we get in here, and of course, this is what
Do
Damian
you
Priest.
have? Sorry, but do you have Dominic walking in with the bandana over his face?
No, I don't have Conan.
Okay,
I have Dom, but I don't have Conan Dom.
because it's 100%
Um,
Conan.
no, it was Conan. It's
Yeah,
like this guy thinks his superpower is to channel every member of the Filthy Animals
maybe.
somehow through himself. So I got a lot of questions.
I mean,
But they're not.
wasn't his dad? Oh, Ray wasn't a filthy animal.
It doesn't matter. He might be a
But he
filthy animal
was.
by association.
Yeah,
He's friends with them.
yeah.
So maybe
Both him and what's her name, Aaliyah, offered Conan their kidneys.
there you go. There's nothing better than that. So this is when Damian Priest is like, tell him how about you scared that guy straight or whatever.
Hmm.
What you could tell Damian Priest is saying something he doesn't believe in when he says it.
Yeah.
It happens, like rarely, but this was one of those moments.
Hmm.
So Miz is like, I heard that you didn't really do any time. And Dom is like, well, maybe you want me to impose my will on you or something because I'm a big boy with friends.
Is that what he said?
No, it's not what he said.
Okay.
So we get to the tag team turmoil match, and at this point, Cedric the Entertainer, he has Finn Balor in what looks to be a rear naked chin hook or whatever.
Hmm.
And he's like, "Hi, mommy," to Rhea Ripley, and of course, Rhea Ripley responds the most Australian way possible. "Hi, dickhead," and I just lost my shit, and I love that.
I
These are the
learned
things you
this week.
miss if you
Yeah,
don't pay attention.
I know. I learned this week that the word "dickhead" is an Aussie thing.
Well, it's used, but they do it the best. Fight me. Um,
What do you mean by they do it the best?
they do it the best.
What
They're
do
the
you
best
mean?
at it.
What makes them better at it?
All right, so if we're talking about a
Damn it.
saying,
Uh-huh.
my opinion is that they are saying it better. I won't have you drag down the podcast, your bullshit semantics. Save that for your stepson who you bully. All right? Yes, you could play VR chat and you could shut your fucking mouth about it.
It's not a
I
game.
just used the one bomb. All right. So anyway, moving along. Well, you try to
Thanks,
tank
YouTube.
us. Um, so listen, I meant to just get the way I felt at the end of this, but it, Montez Ford like jumped like a
Hmm.
frog, and he
Hmm.
used the the that LED board to just splash down upon Damian Priest.
Hmm.
Like the things this man could do, it's incredible, and like this really says it all. Like the Street Profits, like I like shots like this because it's like these guys lost. They lost another opportunity to go and become tag team champions.
Hmm.
And, just to make the Street Profits feel better, I got to get in close. Their Judgment Day is going against the Bloodline. So they're going to lose anyway. So you can save up your energy, trade hard, trade better, and you just come back and get them. Because, like, taxes, and the tribal chief being at the top of the mountain, that's it. It's a wrap. It was over before it just started. It doesn't matter if it's the Judgment Day or not. So, and that was
That's
Raw.
right. Hmm.
Um,
I mean, I wish they wouldn't tease a sort of breakup of the Street Profits
they're not. They
because
didn't hear. They're just
they
disappointed that they lost the match. I didn't
right,
get
and
that
that's
from
fine.
here.
But they were teasing it for a while, and I wish they never did because
It's
now
called
it's
long-term storytelling. You know what it is? It's like we've had arguments before. It's people, friends, close friends argue, and they're going
true.
to have differences,
Hmm.
especially in athletics.
Hmm.
So that's okay, I think. I think that makes it normal. I think that makes it better. The fact that like you don't hear about it right now, it's like, oh, they smoothed it over.
Hmm.
Not everything has to be I don't want to grab my webcam because I'd have to fix it again. Just grab you by the webcam and be like, look, guys, these guys, they're gonna break up.
Hmm.
Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that blatant.
Mhm.
I see what you're saying, but that's just my opinion on the subject.
I just don't want it to happen.
It's probably not going to happen. Like I said, sometimes you get a disagreement. It's good to
Mhm.
see that. That's healthy.
Mhm.
Let's let's do SmackDown because I don't have NXT because I hated New Year's Evil. I was less just beside myself. So we're gonna go to the
I warned you.
we'll go to NXT's website. I already saw it, so we could look at whatever's there. It's like brief things, and it's their website, so they can't really strike us for showing them their stuff. You know, it's not like I'm doing anything bad.
We'll see.
So let's go to SmackDown,
Smack
and
down.
then we're gonna go do Impact and Rampage, and then I'll have the website.
Is
Um,
that anything like Dynamite and Rampage?
Rich, I will fire you from this podcast, albeit temporarily,
Okay.
for the next
I'll
2 seconds.
I'll just reinstate myself as the executive co-host.
Well, first you'd have to like hire somebody else to get other 50 vote, and then outvote me because you started like Basement Bookers B, and you actually have money. So your lawyer wins by default. All right, so
Well, there you go.
we started SmackDown with a very what I would call professional wrestler versus strongman at the circus type situation. This is how they used to do it back in the day. So I'll say I liked it. It was only going to go one way, and the announcers do a great job of protecting Braun Strowman. They say that Walt Gunter was intelligent because he called his shot because he went after Strowman first,
Mhm.
attacking his shoulder. So he's created a weak point for him to focus on for the rest of the match. It's all shoulder all day in Gunter versus Braun Strowman. I have the highlight. It's there. I know that maybe it wasn't all above board. Maybe there was a little distraction, but the referee is working. They didn't say anything. So
Mhm.
what's the problem? So Strowman, it's not one sided. He's using his impressive power, and eventually, our boys come out, the Imperium dudes, uh, and they were dismissed. They weren't here, but they came back just in time. Oh, okay, I went to the beginning again. All right, so I'll fix that. Just so you guys see again. So they came out. Uh, Ludwig Kaiser has Strowman's foot, and he doesn't make it very far,
Mm.
but that's long enough for Strowman to get those hands, and they're like just chopping at each other. And if you like meat slapping meat, boy, what a contest!
Mhm.
Um, and they chop at each other. So eventually it comes to this where I guess Strowman was trying to get Gunter and do something to him off the top rope, but Gunter got to his feet on the outside and he's got like his elbow over his head. He's working that shoulder. It's the same very shoulder, the weakness to exploit. He brings Strowman down with his arm, but like Strowman hits the post, I think.
Mhm.
And then it's basically a power bomb off the top rope. And he folds up Strowman like an accordion.
Yeah.
And he wins the match clean. So I thought that was pretty cool. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's probably going to happen again, and that's also going to be a banger. Not a Sheamus banger,
I think
but
it should be onward and upwards for Gunter. We don't need to see that again. He won clean, you know,
okay,
at the
okay
end of
by
the
me.
day. But if we don't, we don't. I don't think it was all that great. I think it was like they're two different kind of guys, if that makes
Yeah,
any sense.
definitely.
But it was the right call.
Styles make fights.
Yeah, it protected Strowman, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so the next segment we got here would touch on. So
Schmolly.
he's out there and he's looking for the guys, But much to chagrin, the wise man's there. Not to his chagrin. He's always happy to see him.
Mhm.
Bloodline's not there. Bloodline's not there because like they want you to. Roman doesn't want to disrespect Sammy Uso. He wants him out there. He's got this. He believes in Sammy. And
Mhm.
Sammy, he takes that to heart. He's like, you know what, Paul? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna Sami Zayn the S out of this stuff.
Mhm.
And he goes on.
That's exactly what he said.
And this I found to be interesting. Like, what was this glance for? Why was Heyman looking back at Sammy like that? I thought to myself, I pondered, I was perplexed, confused. Something befuddled Basement Chair. And he sat on that until the end of the show. Did you catch that, or you use your face in Supercard thinking the segment was over when Sammy walked off?
No, I caught it, but I didn't think anything of it really because
You don't think that's weird? Like, why? Like, that's a weird look to give somebody, especially if they're your friend. You got him a cute little nickname.
I kind of figured they were kind of just adding it in so that if they I think the ultimate end game of this storyline isn't written yet. And what they're doing is they're just planting seeds everywhere. Every possible seed is being planted so that when they ultimately decide what it is they're going to do, they're going to have something to fall back on and say, well, remember this? That led to this, led to where we are now. They're
So
planting
your
all the seeds.
argument is literally, I don't know, maybe so they can make it a thing.
That's
Is that
not
it?
what I
It sounds
said.
like bullshit.
Those were not my words.
I know,
That
but I
might
kind
have
of
been
simplified
some
it.
that may have been somewhere very close to the vicinity of the actual meaning, but those were not my words.
All right, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Rich,
Mhm.
if you turned around and you saw me looking at you like that, what are your thoughts?
What's that about, buddy?
Exactly. That's where I was coming from.
Okay.
Sometimes the simplest uh, solution is the truth or whatever.
Mhm.
All right. So next, all right. I put this segment in. I put the Karrion Kross Rey Mysterio segment in for one reason.
Mhm.
I'd like to know, outside of the girl and the entrance and the impeccable sense of style, he looks like Agent 47 from Hitman with hair.
Mhm.
What is Karrion Kross?
Well, they were kind
Because
of
I'm
Mhm.
kind of bored.
The announcers were putting over that he is probably a sociopath.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to give him another week. Let's see where this sociopathy goes.
Yeah, sociopaths deserve another week.
Yeah, especially since they can come for you. All
Great
right.
shoes too, by the way. I just noticed.
The guy has style.
Yeah.
If I would love to be able to dress like that.
If I was wearing that jacket, it would be probably to my shins.
His fashion sense is not what's being discussed here. But anyway, let's go on. All right. So this segment, Xylee's out. She's got her little size out or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm always disappointed, but relieved that it's not
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, Xylee cut some kid's eye out.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it. I'm like, what is it like to be somebody? So I zoomed in as far as I could. It's like they don't know what to make of this.
Uh-huh.
And then she does it to the other side, right? She's like,
Mhm.
yeah. And then the kid's like, you probably can't make it. It's very blurry. It's like, is she gonna kill us? It's like it's odd. That's like just today, it's like all these small kids back there. She's out there with weapons.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. All right. So next segment was the Viking
Antler
Raiders
Queen.
and Valhalla, also as Rich likes to affectionately call her, the Antler Queen. Look, I always say wrestling can be anything, so I asked for this,
You did.
and I blame myself.
You can
I
say that
just-
about literally every segment you hate.
But at least I still have the WWE to do this with. You understand?
You could say that about Uncle Howdy too.
I need to know what the plan is here
Mm-hmm.
because all I know is they're wrestling the Banger Bros
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to remember this in 3 months. This would have been gone forever. Like if the Men in Black walked up to me and used that neuralizer thingy and blank my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to then go to me, do you remember Viking Raiders in Valhalla? I'm just going to be like, do you play Assassin's Creed? You've been playing Assassin's Creed? I love Valhalla. That's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. I don't know what to do here, so I'm not going to be rude about it. I just hope it goes somewhere.
So potentially their comedy gimmick where Ivar would hold his hand out
And
and
get
a
the
turkey
tickets.
leg would fly
Turkey leg,
into
yeah.
it is more memorable than whatever they're going to do.
All right,
That is
here's the
sad.
thing. If their opponents were not Sheamus and Drew,
Mm-hmm.
we might have a chance here. But when you stand the four in the ring together, it's not even close. It might as well be a ROH versus WWE match. And we know who's walking away with a W right there.
Well, that's where they started. But yeah.
I understand that.
Okay.
So that means I don't have to explain it to you.
Okay.
I don't know why you're intent on sabotaging me today, but I'm like Neo in the Matrix. I'm like this, I can do it.
Nice.
All right, so you know what, Rich? Take it away. Here's the Bray Wyatt segment. Get me invested in here because, like I said, and we have an example of why I'm not allowed to bring things up sometimes I don't like because I'm trying not to be rude about it.
Yeah. I like all this Bray stuff. So first, before the commercial break, there was the Wyatt logo and there was a QR code. Did you follow the QR code?
Yeah, see you in hell.
It's not what it said. It was Bray in the Firefly Funhouse, and he said, "Let me in," and then he changed into the Fiend. So coming back from commercial, we see the rocking chair, and we see this version of Bray Wyatt with the dreads. He didn't have the dreads last week. Sitting in the chair, and he's back to his old Rambler Man gimmick, it seems, right? So he says, "It's wild how we sometimes forget who we are and what made us. All it takes is a little push in the right direction, and you understand all you had to do is revel in what you are." And all of a sudden, it all came back to him. He remembered everything he'd lost, and that he's the color red in a world full of black and white, that he's the eater of worlds, that he's Uncle Howdy. See, here's where I'm like, wait a second. But you and Uncle Howdy were standing next to each other. What was it? Just last week when Uncle Howdy hit Sister Abigail on him?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, we're gonna put hold on that. So Bray says he's the nagging conscience. By the way, the word nagging, for whatever reason, like the audio, my brain wasn't registering what he was saying. I had to watch it 3 times. Then I'm like, all right, I can't. I got to put on the subtitles. I had to put on subtitles to get that word nagging. I don't know if that happened with anyone else. He's the nagging conscience of a world that has thrown itself away to moral monsters. He's everything. He knows who he is. At the Rumble, it'll be his true rebirth, a baptism in the dark. And as for LA Knight, when the lights go out, he should run. I thought you were going to put the Kevin Owens head down in the corner.
I'm just putting it in the background because that's how I feel right now.
Okay.
I hate this. I don't like it. I think the longer it goes on like this, the worse it is. I think maybe you don't do this promo today. Maybe if it was next week, because I think the Rumble is like 2.5 weeks away or something.
The Rumble is 2 weeks from today.
This Saturday stuff
I
is
know.
just outrageous. They
Yeah.
don't want the Basement Bookers SmackDown coverage, do they? Well, they'll get the SmackDown coverage. They just won't get Rampage, I guess.
Oh, we can record before the Rumble. Well, we got a week to figure it out.
No, we don't, because you're thinking the audio only era, Richter is. I have but so much time to get things up in time for the show.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like let's be a little fair here.
All righty.
All
Guess I'm
right.
taking a nap that Friday.
Oh, you know, I mean, we'll see. Maybe you should.
We don't need video of me napping on the podcast.
No, that's why you got to sit up straight. You know,
Yeah, it's bad
get
for
your
me.
S together. All right, for the podcast, for the Bookiverse. So let's go back to Rambling Man. But he never stopped being the Rambling Man. It's just different words now. It's a different tone and cadence and hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Sammy and Kevin Owens, their usual. You could just stay on Raw and leave me alone here on SmackDown to thrive. You jealous, you jerk. Nobody likes you. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
That's verbatim what happened.
Yep.
But Kevin Owens is like, I tried, but they came to Raw where I am, and I don't like that. I'm not even going to take that. And, you know, Kayla's like, this is what it's like to be a marriage counselor,
Yeah.
I guess.
Hey, Kayla. I miss
Right.
that.
So we go to the main event, and Sammy
I
Uso.
love that still.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's right before he's about to get up. You think he's about to deliver some kind of maybe it's a hell of a kick.
Mm-hmm.
But much to Sammy Uso's chagrin, the Usos are here.
Mm-hmm.
He was told that they weren't coming, and this leads to disqualification. And this whole time, you know, this is Sammy's on the apron. He's like, well, "This is for you, man. This is for you." And then Sammy's like, "Tribal chief told me to handle business."
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he's about to slap him, but he's like just moving his hand. He's like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to do business here, you
Yeah.
know? And he's like, you did good, Sammy. Throw it up. And, you know, it's a hesitant throw it up. Maybe
Mhm.
not throwing it up with enough oomph.
Mhm.
And, of course, Solo, he comes off the barricade onto Kevin Owens.
I'm so glad he didn't like fall and injure himself doing that.
I figured out what the beautiful part of this whole feud is, as the bloodline together stand tall over him. All right, so you know how I was saying how like a couple episodes ago that Solo is like the ultimate universe version of Umaga,
Mhm.
kinda, and like how these next generations, like I would call Usos 3 count 2.0 or something just to mess with them, you know.
Right.
And I look at Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It's like, what if you could get two faces of Foley and you got them feuding on the opposite side in a storyline? And this is kind of what you have.
Mm.
Like, I know it sounds crazy, but just think about it. Because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're kind of two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And then you have one on the heel side of the feud and the other one on the face side. Like,
Mhm.
whatever Roman Reigns can't stand about Kevin Owens, that's inside of Sami Zayn too. And he's
Mhm.
using that as a weapon.
That's a
So
great perspective.
if you think about where it started with them, that whole
Mhm.
thing they were doing during the Thunderdome era, that crazy match that they had, it was just them going at each other.
Mhm.
And now he's got that on his side, that element with him.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's weird the things you think about just randomly when you just gotta, I don't know. But I really enjoyed watching this. That's mainly why, because I'm like, yes, like It's like two faces of Foley right here. Like, this is
Mhm.
crazy. This is so crazy. What's your
Yeah.
thought on all of that? Yeah.
Definitely, easily my favorite storyline in wrestling right now. Period. I think it's probably everyone's. It's the most compelling. It's brilliant work by everyone involved. In part, it's great setup because, like I said, I don't think they actually know what the end game is going to be, and they're kind of just trying a bunch of different things and kind of just seeing how it plays out. But like, it's only going to play out on TV, like on each episode, the one way that they write it. But other seeds are planted, like I mentioned earlier. So it's a really unique storyline. A lot of really great moving parts, and everyone is playing their part perfectly. That's my thoughts.
Excellent. That's it for that. We're gonna go on to the AEW Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Out of order here, so I don't mind. Oh, I really want to talk about SmackDown right now. All right, so
Oh, we'll go back. We'll go back to NXT later. I forgot about that.
yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
excited. All right, so that's the wrong folder. All right, so my system is weird. So we start off with the Hangman Adam Page versus John Moxley. Spoiler alert, he does metaphorically knock Moxley's dick into the dirt if you think that's his head into the mat. So
Yeah, and where's Hangman's left hand right now? So
he was trying to get it to the dirt, but whatever. So listen, Moxley is in the corner and he doesn't know what happened. That's because he was knocked out. That's how you
Mhm.
would behave if you were knocked unconscious. Like, you don't know what happened. Now it wasn't from the buckshot lariat. It was from hitting his head. Because
Mhm.
if you notice in the replay,
Mhm.
Hangman's the lariat is to the chest.
Yep.
That alone isn't gonna knock Moxley out, right?
Right.
So it was him getting on his head. And I thought that was fine. And it just showed that Hangman was right and that he was going to go out there, say what you want about his promo that was too long. It should have just been, I'm going to beat the bleep out of you and I'm going to knock your D into the dirt. That's it. Everything else was too much. You need to
Mhm.
be a man of lesser words. And he gave it all he had. He knocked Moxley unconscious, which
Yep.
was the
Got
only
his
way he was going
receipt.
to beat him. There you go. So next, we have Adam Cole, baby,
Bye.
who we really thought was gone. And according to Excalibur on commentary, if you listen to that sort of thing, is that it's a surprise to him because on the sheet it's TBD.
Even Sean Ross Sapp confirmed. Internal documents said promo TBD.
And I think that's great. And I really wish more people would pay attention to that sort of thing.
You see, for me, I do think it's great. I kind of, in a way, wish that they didn't say, well, on my sheet it says promo TBD. So we really didn't know what was going to happen here. That kind of calls more attention to every other surprise. Maybe you did know.
Listen, let's stop talking about sandbagging. Remember that? That was a shirt.
It was a
They
shirt.
do weird stuff here.
Hmm.
That's a different world. So Adam Cole's back and he's like, listen, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do this no more. It's hard driving in a car or whatever. Sometimes I can't walk around. My wife, she was, I wake up, I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm getting real sad. Real baby face stuff here. Adam Cole is a straight up baby face, I guess. It wouldn't make any sense for him to be a heel after this. It's like, why are you being a dick about it? You had no indication to doing that. We cared about you. How could you do this? How
Hmm.
could you be so cruel? Um, it's good to see him back. Happy that he's going to be able to hit the gym again, get back into fighting shape, and not get in there till he's ready. Um, And then we can have every AEW fan watching any Adam Cole match like the Kermit meme where he's like biting his nails, you know? And God forbid they put him in a ring with Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryanson, and then it's both of them. Everybody's like, they're like, they don't know where to pay attention to.
It's like just give them sparring headgear.
They're just gonna look like those kids with like those big inflatable gloves and things, just coming at each other and like that helmets
or inflatable
Little
sumo match.
suits.
Yeah.
Somebody
Or
make that
giant
happen.
bubbles.
That's the only way we want that match.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's all about the boom. Shit for the day. If you are a fan of Jungle Hook,
Not
does that
Hookle Boy?
make you a jungle hooker?
Yes.
Okay.
That would make
Yeah,
you
because
Jane.
that's what they were calling them. They were calling them Jungle Hook.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm like, oh, I guess they want this to be a thing.
So if the fans are called jungle hookers, then the fans could be nicknamed Jane.
I like jungle hookers better. Jane's not a hooker; she's a lady.
You don't know that.
From all the books, it says she is.
What happens in the jungle stays in the jungle.
Yeah, I wish you'd stay in the jungle. All right, next.
I've never been in a jungle.
So the best ones, they.
Why does Trent look like you, but with glasses and tie dye?
I don't know. He's a little bit bulkier than I am. I gotta say.
Where were you Wednesday night?
I can't tell you. I don't have any evidence, so you wouldn't believe me. Like Danhausen, he's looking like he doesn't believe me either.
I have not Googled who this person is, by the way.
So Stingray from Cobra Kai, as I'd like to call him, because I watch Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think the Golden Globe was for Cobra Kai, but he's got a Golden Globe. Danhausen wants it, I guess. They do the best friends thing. This is here because I'm like, this better lead to something. And thankfully, it does. And spoiler alert, I liked it. I liked the result. All right, so next we got Mid JF. He's in there with Rich. Can you say his name, please? Because I don't know how to be not offensive.
Takeshita, Konosuke
Okay.
Takeshita.
And he's like, he says Konnichiwa and all these insensitive things. Proceeds to just crap talk everybody. Crap talk Freddie Prinze Jr. That's wrestling related.
Hey,
That's
that might be his boss someday.
Maybe. Who's to say?
He's a potential buyer.
Yeah. It is. No. So I have this here. This is from the Britt Baker. Jamie Hayter teaming up against my friend Saraya and Tony Storm, who's probably got the best tan in the women's division. So this is where I have an issue. So at one point during the match, you got Rich's favorite wrestler, Hikaru Shida. I corrected myself. And she's out there. And I believe that's Jamie Hayter laying in the ring there.
Yes.
Right. And Tony Storm's on the right of her. And she throws the kendo stick in the ring.
Heyman style, right in between the two combatants.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's your plan here? Because obviously Britt Baker was up. She got the kendo stick. Was it for her? Because what happens next leads me to believe I don't think that's what she wanted. Or some people are confused, or maybe she received the wrong instructions. We'll get to that. So Britt Baker take liberties with Tony Storm, best hand in the women's division. Tosses the kendo stick out before the referee like an expert, like someone who's done this many, many times before. And then Haterade, Bob's your uncle. And here's Sheeta, shocked, as if intervening in the match wouldn't cause this. Because to me, it looked pretty clean cut what she was trying to do. I'm like, oh, is Sheeta a heel? Did she just turn? Because the timing of the apron distraction, because what else could that be for? Why else would she distract? That doesn't make any sense. It wasn't going to help Britt Baker. So why? And then Sheeta like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is crazy. How could this happen? Or maybe she sucks like, oh, I can't believe this happened because Tony Storm is the best wrestler in AEW.
Mm.
And Saraya said so. How could this possibly happen? That could be a reason for that. Very sarcastic. If so, hats off, clapping for Sheeta for her best work. So we move on from that.
Shaboys.
I have a lot of respect for Eddie Kingston. He's broken a lot of glass ceilings. And I like Ortiz. But like the location, it kind of reminds me of guys I knew when I worked at the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like it hits close to home.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, remaining polite to keep my teeth in my mouth. We're gonna move on to the next thing. Yeah, this is the end result of the main event match, the end of the best of 7. Kenny Omega looks like he got something in his eyes that he was supposed to keep his eyes closed for. So we're gonna keep on rocking. So, all right, this match had everything you wanted. Kenny Omega going through a table. Had a young buck going through a table.
Mm-hmm.
It had El Cero Miedo, Hurricane riding a young buck onto a ladder, and his tailbone was effed. Like, look at the way he lands on his back after it. Like, he just folds like a baby shrimp. He folds him like a baby shrimp, Richard is.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Good call, Jerry.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that. That was funny, though. It's like, Excalibur's like, good call, Tony. Sorry, I stole your line there. And if you want to see a young buck put a Cero Miedo into a ladder, you got to. Oops, I went to the beginning. I was so excited of all the things you could see. So it keeps going. Then you get oh, I'm sorry, I confused Pentagon with his brother Phoenix there. It was Ray Fenix through a chair. Oh yeah, it was so the horror thing was Ray Fenix also. I apologize. I'm not great at this. I get too excited. And look, a young buck through El Cero Miedo or whatever. And then through the table. That's all the way, guys, because you gotta love the splitters, you know. They really do really good work on these tables. And this top spot, one winged angel on Ray Phoenix, right?
Yep.
And then Pac tries to come down with a black arrow, gets knees to his stomach. At this point, Kenny Omega has hit Super Saiyan 3. And he's gone. Damn it. I'll get excited.
He's gone
on to grab the belts. I had to, because at first I was like, all right, they won. I'm like, yeah, but they did a lot of cool stuff. So I should probably get that in here. That, to me, I thought was like kind of the best match on Dynamite. This is something that could have definitely headlined a pay-per-view. I'm just saying.
And I just wish it didn't have to go 7 matches.
I guess, but if you're a fan of them, then you probably do want it to be 7. And also, in their defense, that gives more people a chance to see something like that in person. You know, they get like that to them in this universe. Those are their hottest 3-man team acts, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Like if you were to say trios, if you were to think the trios championship, you most likely think these 2 teams.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's head over to the land of Dynamite, which was, I believe, the same night. I don't know.
Rampage.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Whatever. You can play VR chat. All right. So we're going to go on to the Rampage.
Don't correct my corrections.
All right. So the first match, we saw Darby Allin squeeze Juice Robinson out, win it with the everybody's favorite trust fall, don't move. Sting comes out. Who Sting, I hear, after this year will be retiring. Rich Riz threw a party. It was pretty great. He's still on the wagon.
Finally.
Powerhouse Hobbs has convinced me that book is blank.
This is a very 80s WWF style promo. This book right here.
I'll take this over Viking Raiders and Valhalla.
Okay.
Because at least there's a chance he's going to beat someone to death with that book.
3 gold chains, huh?
You going to talk to him about it?
I'll ask him about it one day, maybe.
Why not one thick chain?
Hobbs,
You know?
baseballbookers@gmail.com. Let's
It's straight to Rich the Riz because he already threw me on the bus earlier. I'm not taking that on. All right, so here come the Acclaimed. This is at the point where Raps Caster over here says he's never had to take blood money. Hey, Max, you ain't worth it. The price tag ain't that high. Regular money's just fine. Okay. Regular money that's had lines done on it. Okay, that's enough. Fine. So let's not try to get on the high horse, so to speak. All right.
Good phrasing too.
But listen, I disagree with the phrase "everyone loves the Acclaimed." I don't love the Acclaimed. I like the Acclaimed. Don't get it twisted. All right, I'm not making that kind of commitment. All right, so the ass boys are like, listen, you stole our dad. We're tired of you scissoring with our dad. And I don't have the rest of this because I hated it. So
thank you.
This next segment I want to call Parker Bordeaux. That kid is back on the escalator again. Him and that stupid. It's like he's a house elf in Harry Potter. And Swerve Strickland freed him by giving him something. And now he's free. Because look at him. Every time I got to look in close, that's what I see. I'm trying to watch the promo, which is Swerve Strickland dropping some knowledge. This is another scene, Rich Perez. It's not the same picture. It's another picture. There he goes. He's back.
Are you sure?
With the Parker thing again. No, I'm sure I did this on my own. Trust me, there's slight differences. And this is me. That kid is back on the escalator again. Stop with the name thing. We get it. All right, so this is the House of Black Kings of the Black Throne versus Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. It's at this point that Rich Perez brings us the highlight of Buddy running in the ring with a chair, almost as if he ran directly right into Kingston. Like this was his target the whole time, to get that chair under Eddie Kingston's boot. And Eddie Kingston looking down on Buddy Murphy like a guy that owes him WIC money. He's a little annoyed by him right now. He's like, listen, man, I don't want this Brand X cereal. All right. I don't want King Vitamin. I want Lucky Charms. All right. And then the store guy's like, all right. Say, this is where the tussle begins. Eddie Kingston, it looks to Ortiz as if Eddie Kingston's about to blast this poor young lady, Julia Hart, with the steel chair. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, the next thing that follows, because like Ortiz is like, you're going to hit a girl with a chair, aren't you? He didn't say it that way, but he should have, because I'm like, wait a minute. I think there might be something more at play here, because Ortiz knows Eddie Kingston very well. Because to me, if it's me and you, I'm like, oh, he was never going to hit a girl with a chair. Ortiz is acting like, oh, he's going to hit her with that chair. like he might have anecdotal evidence in the past of this is a thing he might do. You know, it's like, oh, geez.
But from Eddie Kingston's point of view here, maybe this looks like Ortiz is specifically defending Julia Hart.
I don't know. It looks like maybe he doesn't want him to hit a woman with a chair.
Right.
He's like, he's going, is this the kind of guy you are that's going to hit a woman with a chair? Is what Ortiz said, right?
That's what he said, but
at this point, Eddie Kingston, you know, it looked like Black was going to hit Ortiz, but Kingston took the kick for Ortiz.
Well, Ortiz ducked.
Yes. What else are you supposed to do if somebody's trying to kick you? It's not his fault that Eddie Kingston wasn't fast enough to duck out of the way.
He didn't see it coming. Ortiz was blocking.
To quote, to you know, I see a boot, I get out the way. He see the boot, he stayed. All right.
Mhm.
So what happens next? Ortiz is being held by Murphy, and Malachi's
Matthews.
Black. It's like, you did good. You did good, kid. You did really good. As I throw him back, so he throws him back in, and it's just them in the ring. So
Mhm.
this was for you. This gentleman's name is Paul Walter Hauser.
Thank you.
And he's a little late. He didn't make it in time for the Basement Booker vs. Golden Pencil of Stay at Your Home Award. Stay at
Next
the Home
year.
Award.
Maybe
But
next year.
next came out 1000, and he's like, listen, I want this Golden Globe housing. And mercifully, this was over, because the next thing you know, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal come in, and Jeff Jarrett just blasts this guy right in the head with a guitar, and that made me very happy. I
Mhm.
was like, yes, and what a professional. Like, this guy's actually a decent actor, and the fact that he's letting somebody hit him in the head with a guitar, this guy's definitely a wrestling fan. So,
Mhm.
all right. Viewer discretion advised, because there's a lot of cherry flavored soda in this match.
Color. A lot of color.
Poor Ruby Soho got busted open, and who in this match I felt the most empathy for. So
Only veteran.
that was until Anna Jay maybe hit her head on the fucking cement or whatever. Sorry, that's another F-bomb. Come on, YouTube. Don't be like that.
Work with
All right.
us.
So there's a slapping spot. You know,
Oh,
everybody
geez. I
sitting
don't
in
even remember
chairs.
this spot.
And you can see again the Crimson Mask. Poor Ruby Soho being a real trooper. There's even more.
All I
I'm
see is
trying not to
Aubrey
talk
cringing.
too much. Yeah, because she can't help herself. She needs to girl up. All right. Or re-up. Willow Nightingale, you're gonna see that her butt is the only thing that goes through that. Her butt and her thighs are the only thing that go through the table. It looks to me like Anna Jay protected the back of her head from the. It's a
Hope
little
so.
blurry though. Yeah, I guess they got it after, because
Mhm.
I'd imagine that's a definite concussion if she hit the back of her head. So I think she was able to protect herself and get her hands to where it looks like she didn't have her hands. Although that would be fine. You're trying to protect the back of your head. What's the big deal if anybody sees that?
Mhm.
You know, but I guess to make it look worse. But I think Willow got all of that,
Yeah.
unless she just laid down. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. But that was your highlight. You oranged that. It was like a mustard.
Yeah, because the point of the table now, insider wise, the point of the table is it breaks part of the fall. It makes it easier for the person taking the move. Now, two people are involved in this move, right? The person giving it, who is going to land on their tailbone, and the person taking it, who's going to land on flat on their spine and on the back of their head. If anyone needs the table there to break the fall, it's the person whose back of the head is going to hit concrete. And that person got none of the table. That to me, granted, in this particular spot, means Willow is unsafe.
I'm glad everyone was okay.
Me too.
I'm not gonna throw around the whole unsafe or whatever, because I don't know what the heck's going on.
Hmm.
And I got a lot of respect for everybody that does this. I
It
just
does
want
look like
them to
that
be
might be
able to.
carpeting
I
that
want them to be
she
able
landed
to.
on.
It looks like padding, but still,
Hmm.
that's gonna hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That looks thinner than the stuff at the playground.
Hmm.
Um, so what was I gonna say? It's like, but I just want them to be able to do it longer. Like, I think when you do stuff like this to take, your bump card, whatever the professionals they talk about that, you got but so many.
Hmm.
Especially it should have been a main event of a pay-per-view or something, or the first hour, whatever. I don't know. So look at Ruby Soho.
Hmm. The
You
Crimson
might get in trouble
Mask.
for this. I'm just gonna keep moving. So
Hmm.
it looked like she would have power, but then she went through a table. Ty
Hmm.
Conti put it through a table. It looked like a neutralizer through the table. And
Is the Gotch pile driver.
she did the most. I felt like if it was an MVP in this match, it was Ruby Soho. My gosh. So after the thumbtacks, which when they came out, I'm like, somebody stop this. You don't have to do this. The usual thing. What are you doing?
Yep.
That's crazy. Just so grounded after this.
Mhm.
And then comes the destination unknown, known to be thumbtacks.
Also known as
And
Sister
as you can
Abigail.
see from the still, I can't stay too long from. She got all of that too. She got some of
Yep.
that. She's selling that for Ruby Soho, and mercifully, they won. Hopefully, the feud is over.
Ty set up too early.
Yeah, she should have just stayed there forever. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And that's it. That was the Rampage. And then I got the NXT from the WWE.com. And we're going to talk about that. If you have any thoughts on what we just saw, whatever, let me know. But I'm just going to move on to the tab.
Yeah, just in general, the person that eats the pin, especially if it's from an impact move like that, as opposed to like a submission, but in particular an impact move, you got to stay down. You got to sell what just happened. Like, you were out. You didn't have the energy to sit up for a count of 3, right? Maybe you need a little more time.
Take a little more time, man.
Just stay down. Just stay down. That's it.
All right. So, quick hits on New Year's Evil. First, we had the Don, not having a good time against Dijak. The thing I can remember from this was that Stax was willing to take a bullet for the Don, but the Don shoved him out of the way and took the bullet himself because the guy's like, let me do this for you, boss. He's like, I'm not your boss. I'm family.
Stax got handcuffed to the turnbuckle, I think, during the commercial.
Yeah, but it
And
was still long enough for him to die.
it
It
was,
was a
but
long chain.
but the announcer didn't tell us who handcuffed him. Presumably it was Dijak. But who brought the handcuffs into play? I don't know.
Dijak.
Probably.
No.
But he was wrestling with handcuffs in his pocket. Isn't he supposed to be checked for
Didn't he have
anything?
a jacket? Maybe it was in
I
his
don't know.
jacket. Anyway, so after that, okay, so it was supposed to be a gauntlet match, and the winners would, I guess, get an NXT title shot, or it was just that Pretty Deadly had
It
to
was
win to get a
if it
title
was if
shot.
it was if Pretty Deadly wins the gauntlet match, they get a title shot.
And they got the Rockers, no Rockers we've ever heard of,
Right.
and they got destroyed.
They're the Rockers at home.
Yeah, there was supposed to be some other team, but instead the two other gentlemen that Pretty Deadly had wrestled against came out instead because the New Day got them there.
It was JB and BJ.
Right, and
that got knocked out in the
no,
back
that
way.
was those were the guys that got beat up by Gallus.
Oh, sorry.
The other two
Oopsie.
gentlemen. You
I don't
remember?
know if they were even announced, the second team.
Well, okay, fine. So yeah, Gallus, they're the number one contenders because why not? Maybe they're not. All right, so Braun Breaker versus Garrison Waller. Let's see if we could play this. We can see what happened. It's only 3 minutes. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I just want to get to the rope break part. Your favorite part. I'm going to mute it. Oh, it's really in there. Okay, so
that's the second.
All right,
the first,
so
Waller throws Breaker into the turnbuckle. It's from that part of the ring, it's that turnbuckle. From the hard camera, it's the near left. That's the second break. The rope breaks twice.
I guess this one was for serious. So Braun Breaker wins by count out.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, this sucks. So basically, HBK tweeted out later, he's like, listen, I heard what you guys were saying. And so at Vengeance Day, it's going to be a cage match for these two meaty men, Grayson Waller and Braun Breaker.
And they say after the match, they say they double reinforced the ropes. It's like, well, that's how you should always do it.
Yeah, why not always do it? That
Yeah.
guy should be fired, storyline wise, not for real, obviously.
Mhm.
All right, and of course, predictably, Charles Sour Lemon Dempsey, he strangles the man, I forgot the guy I was trying to compare him to. The Steve
Hank?
Wilkos of
Oh.
NXT,
Oh, yeah.
Hank Walker,
Mhm.
and maybe Regal stretched him out a little bit. I don't know, whatever you want to
Little
call it. And then Jinder Mahal beat Julius Creed. Now this happened because Indashir, which is Veer Mahan, and the other guy.
Beer and not Shanky. It's the other guy.
No, I knew you were gonna say Shaky.
Beer
Jinder Mahal threw
Sanga.
you off. Sanga.
Sanga.
So Sanga was there. Veer wasn't there because his father passed away.
Correct.
So condolences on the loss of your father. And I'm pretty sure if you were there, you guys would have destroyed the Creed brothers.
Yes.
So Jinder Mahal came in as stand-in. They got a match going, but Mahal was just too much for Creed, who's being kind of a D-hole this whole episode. Like, he's being mad disrespectful. It's like, listen, you're not the only one in Diamond Mine. That poor young lady had, a chance in a battle royal to become the number one contender, and you messed up her mind. She wasn't able to focus. That's why she didn't win.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the battle royal? How Cora Jade was like almost immediately eliminated.
Once
I'm gonna
that
let it
happened,
play while you talk, and it'll be muted.
once Cora was eliminated, I knew that both members of Toxic Attraction were going to win. I knew they were
Right.
going to. I didn't know for sure if it was going to be they knock each other out scenario, or if they were both going to step out at the same time. But either way, it wasn't going to go any other way. It just wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't. We weren't gonna have HBK run out there and blow out his quads. No.
No.
It looks like it's gonna be the triple threat match. It's gonna be Toxic Attraction versus Roxanne.
Hmm.
So that's gonna be fun. What do you think of that?
I think it's a relatively easy way for Roxy to retain.
I like how JC Jane and Gigi don't like. JC Jane was like, "All right, I'm gonna just throw myself out," and Gigi's like, "No, don't do it." And he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna get you." And then they just go at it. It's like that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
like you both want this. No, hardly anyone, unless you're like a twin, ever comes up saying, I really want to be tag team champion. I want to be the best tag team. No, you want to be the champion. You want to be the world champion. So,
yeah.
it doesn't. You can't have a partner doing that. If it comes down to you or your partner, would you rather them win, or do you really want to win?
I think the easy thing to do is just fight it out,
Yeah.
because then you know that the best of the two of you are the ones that are fighting the champion, and then you can work out. Let's fight between each other after that.
Yeah, and then the loser goes and
Which
hugs the
always
winner.
works
You
out
hug it out.
fine.
Yeah, you
That
go, then you
always
hug it
works
out
out
and
fine.
celebrate. Winner
Yeah.
buys loser dinner.
Yeah, we could all be
Something.
ladies about this in that situation.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. That's all I got. So good, decent, okay week. A little anxiety in the wrestling world. Like, I think everybody should just calm down and relax, and then we'll see what happens.
It's all
Let
gonna
the
be
chips
fine.
fall where they may.
Mhm.
All right.
He's gonna kill it.
Do your job.
Oh, where's that
The
tab?
thing you
There
do
it is.
here. Oh, you
All
have
right.
like a tab of your own like things to say when it's
Well, I have
over?
the Podbean, so I know all the apps are on.
Good job, buddy. Go ahead.
Thank you. So let us know what you think. baseballbookers@gmail.com. By the way, thanks to everyone for checking out the Bookie Awards, the 5th annual. That's going to be up, obviously, in perpetuity, like every episode we have. So if you missed that, that'll be up. You can check that out. You can check out this podcast on, man, what is that? That's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the Podbean app, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, plus Alexa, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, Samsung Podchaser, Boom Play. That's new. We just got on there, I think. Pretty much any platform. Of course, check out the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Basement Bookers Pod, at Basement Jer, at Rich Riz, at Basement Bookers. Our DMs are open. And just got a party message for you.
The match of life is scheduled for one fall, so make it count.
And do what the man says.
Follow the Booker.